Welcome to Bunnyborough PH, where we share our personal favorite stories from Reddit each week.
Here's our top 3 Glitch in the Matrix stories from Reddit.
Number 3.
My best friend and I are currently spiraling because an event we survived together has somehow been rewritten. We've discussed this specific day a million times over the last 3 years, and our memories of it are identical down to the smallest detail. Yet now everything happened differently. We were staying at a hotel in the middle of nowhere, and decided to hike 2 hours along the coast to a restaurant on a remote cape. My friend was all dressed up in platform heels, a long pink skirt, and a white top. Remember this? As we walked into the restaurant, we noticed a group of men all turned their heads toward us. Throughout lunch, they kept looking at us and talking to each other, and we couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As we left the restaurant, those men got up and followed us out immediately. In front of the restaurant, there were rocks leading into the sea and a few cars parked outside. We decided to take some photos on the rocks, but then we saw the men starting to take photos of us. They were constantly on their phones, talking to someone while pointing their cameras at us. It was an open area, and there wasn't another soul around, so it was obvious. We got really weirded out, but we didn't have anyone to ask for help. Since we were on the trip alone, and didn't want to call and worry our parents, we decided to head back to the hotel. For context, I had been vlogging our whole trip and was filming everything, including this entire incident. As we started walking back toward our hotel along the rocks that ran parallel to a quiet, rural road. To avoid the road, we decided to walk through the water to get to the next headland. The tide was quite high, over our knees, and I remember filming the whole thing, us walking through the water, with my friend in her platform heels and long skirt getting soaked. We kept looking back at the men, who had stopped the car opposite where we entered the water. They actually got out of the car, and were just standing there, watching us walk through the sea. We eventually made it to the other side and sat on a bench, watching them watch us, until they finally drove off. The reason we're freaking out is that I recently went to find the footage for a birthday post for my friend. I wanted to edit our iconic moments, but I saw that the footage had completely changed. In the footage of us taking photos by the sea, there are suddenly random women in bikinis right next to us who were never there. Most importantly, the footage of us in the water is now somehow time-stamped on a completely different day, and we are wearing different clothes, which means going to that restaurant and walking through the water happened on different days. To add to that, the men and their car are nowhere to be seen. I watched the 20 minutes of footage of us in the water, and I never once mentioned the car or panned the camera toward them. It just looks like we're randomly walking through deep water for no reason. We are both 100% sure we filmed those men while we were walking through the water. We talked about them in the video and afterward for the vlog. Even weirder, I called a close friend who wasn't on the trip but had heard this story countless times, and he told me he'd never heard it in his life. He was genuinely surprised that we hadn't mentioned something so crazy. My friend thinks we experienced quantum immortality. That maybe in the original timeline, something bad happened and our consciousness jumped to this version of reality. I wish this were just a glitch, but the fact that we're wearing different clothes in those 2 videos shows that it isn't. Also, I've watched the videos numerous times over the last 2 years, and they were always the same as we remembered.
Number 2.
I did Taekwondo for 10 years, and every year we had a summer picnic with food for everyone and games for the kids. One year, the picnic was held at a pavilion in a forest preserve. My friend and I got bored. We were 12, too old for the games, but not cool enough to hang out with the teenagers. So we decided to follow a tiny path we found leading into the woods. The path branched at a few crossroads, but we stuck together in case one of us got lost. We even left little stick markers shaped like arrows at each turn so we could find our way back. We walked for what felt like hours, crossing several roads that cut through the woods and even passing what looked like an old factory or mill. Eventually, after following a stream, hot, sweaty, and covered in mosquito bites, we came across an old, crumbling set of stone walls and an open half-dome structure decorated with colorful tiles. It looked like the front altar of a church. We were fascinated. I was completely convinced we had discovered the ruins of some old, forgotten church no one else knew about. There was Latin writing on the sides and worn mosaics showing a globe, a lamp or lighthouse, and a star with radiating beams of light. Awesome, right? Then we realized our parents were probably worried sick. We hadn't told anyone we were leaving. This was 2006 and we didn't have cell phones. So we hurried back, following our stick markers, and came out of the woods to find my mom on the phone and her mom nearby. They were relieved, but also understandably upset. Later that evening, after things had calmed down, I told my mom about the ruins. I'm not sure she believed me, but she thought it was interesting. Fast forward about 5 years. I'm in high school, hanging out with friends, grabbing iced coffee, and exploring our downtown area, a small touristy town by a river. One of my friends suggested we go to the shrine. I had no idea what he meant, so he said, "It's this rundown Catholic shrine in the woods behind the old government building." Instantly, I thought of the ruins. I was a little spooked, but I had to see it. We hopped a fence and walked about 10 minutes into the woods behind the building. And there it was, the same place. It looked exactly how I remembered it, right down to the mosaics. And it was next to a stream, just like before. I told my friends the story, and they were confused. They said there was no way we could have reached that shrine by walking through the woods from the forest preserve. The area it sits in is a small patch of forest bordered by the government building, a neighborhood, and the river. They even showed me the edge of the path near the neighborhood to prove it. I didn't believe them at first, but when I got home, I checked Google Maps. The forest preserve where the picnic was held is in a neighboring town, but not on the side that connects to mine. And my friends were right. The woods where the shrine is located are completely enclosed by the river, the building, and the neighborhood. There's no way we could have walked there through the woods in an hour or two. I still visit the shrine sometimes when I'm home. It's a beautiful place. I haven't reached out to my old taekwondo friend. We drifted apart about a year later, but maybe I should. Too long didn't read. I found a shrine deep in the woods as a kid, and years later discovered it again in a place I couldn't have possibly reached from where I started.
Number 1.
On Valentine's Day in 2018, I was out running errands. It was around midday, and I had gone to pick up a few last-minute things for my toddler and my niece. You know, Valentine's gifts and such. Oddly enough, 2 separate incidents happened within about 2 hours. The first one happened while I was driving on Interstate 295. I was in the fast lane when I looked in my rearview mirror and saw a police car speeding up behind me. I moved over into the middle lane to let him pass. As the car went by, I glanced over without thinking and saw a white male officer in uniform with a shaved head just looking straight ahead as he drove. Nothing strange at first, but then it got weird. He merged into my lane in front of me, then immediately moved all the way to the right and took the next exit. So naturally, I'm thinking, okay, cool. I can get back into the fast lane and keep going. Except before I even had the chance to move over, I glanced to my left and saw the exact same thing happen again. Same car, same officer, same position. Even I turned my head at the exact same moment as before, watching it play out like a replay. And just like the first time, the police car merged in front of me and then took the next exit. At that point, I wasn't freaking out. I just thought, okay, that was weird, and kept going with my day. About an hour later, I was at Walmart. Right when you walk in, the holiday aisle was at the front, so I stopped in the Valentine's section. There wasn't much left, so I was digging through the shelves, hoping to find something my niece or daughter would like. Then someone quickly walked past the end of the aisle. I happened to look up and noticed him because he was holding a small gift bag. I even remember thinking to myself, he's got a little gift for his sweetie. He was average height, with slick dark brown hair, wearing a blue button-up shirt, black slacks, and shiny black dress shoes. He was holding a small blue gift bag by the handles, like he had already bought something, maybe jewelry or a small present. It stood out just enough to catch my attention. Then, seconds later, it happened again. I had looked back down at the shelf for a moment and something made me look up. And there he was, walking past the same spot again. Same exact guy, Same outfit, same gift bag. That's when I started to lose it a little. I rushed to the end of the aisle with my cart and looked toward the checkout lanes and the entrance, trying to spot him, or maybe his twin from a few seconds earlier. But there was no one there. He had just vanished. I probably looked crazy, talking to myself, saying things like, "Wait a minute," and "No way." I went straight to checkout and got out of there. As I was leaving, still completely confused, I remembered what had happened earlier on Interstate 295. Two nearly identical moments, replaying themselves within such a short time. It felt like too much to be a coincidence. I've always been into strange and mysterious things, but that was the moment I started looking into glitches in the Matrix and realized other people have experienced things like this too. I just wish I had been recording. There's always something a little strange going on around me, but that was the only time I've ever witnessed something so clear. Two separate, almost identical glitches in the same day. And on Valentine's Day, of all days.
Leave your comment down below. And like and subscribe for more Reddit stories like this.